welcome to the ApeCast. I'm your host AJ, and let's get right into the news. Today we've got a special guest, and his name is Beckham. Beckham, introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Beckham. I have a very big channel on YouTube with 17 subscribers. Yeah, so I am practically a YouTube celebrity now. So.
Yeah, you can see him in the magazines. He's basically as large as PewDiePie.
Yeah.
Compare him to Leafy. Compare him to a Drama Alert.
Yeah.
He makes the news every day.
Yes,
All right,
yes.
so today we wanted to talk about a very important topic and something that many people can agree on in the YouTube community, and that is
Apple.
and how they're scamming us.
Their goddamn iPhone 7.
Yeah, that's going to be our main topic today. So, one of the big parts of the iPhone 7 is that how it's not going to have a headphone jack.
Yes.
Beckham, expand on this.
It's just they say it's to make it thinner or something like that, but honestly, it's probably just so they get extra money from adapters.
Yeah, and basically that's what they've been doing all along. They've been removing things to make it quote unquote
thinner.
And it just makes it worse.
Yeah.
Nobody wants it. But
See,
although the main argument that Apple users have is that it's very simple and easy to use. Am I right, Beckham?
Yeah. See, what Apple does is they take out necessary features and add them in later for an extra price.
Like with the MacBook Air, they took out several USB ports and then created their own
USB-C port.
Yeah. And it's just very, very bad.
Yeah, like other laptops have USB, like some Windows laptops have USB-C ports, but they have other, like, only having a single USB port, like, practically makes a computer unusable USB-C port.
Yeah, and truthfully, Apple computers pale in comparison to some $300 computers. Am I right, Beckham?
Yeah, like you can get a computer that's a lot better than a MacBook Air for like less than half the price.
Yeah, and with the recent MacBooks that have been coming out, it may be light and easy to carry, which is true, but it doesn't have the necessary tools so that people who want to do some more complicated video editing, which Apple, truthfully, is good for. Their computers are not bad for video editing, but for anything else, it can't run The Witcher Wild Hunt. If I want to run The Witcher Wild Hunt while I'm in school, I can't do that with a MacBook Air, and that's basically the problem.
Yeah, see, if I were to have a Mac, I would definitely install Windows on it so I could actually do normal computer things and not have to abide by Apple's ridiculous rules.
And even if I did have a MacBook Air, I wouldn't buy an adapter that Apple sells because you'd just be setting fuel to the fire. They'd be, oh well, they're buying our adapters. We might as well make thinner stuff. Maybe the next product we won't even have any ports. We'll use the power of your mind to power your computer.
The power of your mind.
And
yeah, how long until Apple makes a computer that's like Bluetooth only? Would anyone even buy that?
I feel like people would be stupid enough to buy that.
Just because it's Apple, like.
I mean, they're buying the iPhone SE, which is basically an iPhone 5 clone.
I do like the iPhone SE. I can give them that because it offers like a cheaper solution for like people who want like the latest smartphone like technology, but like at a lower price.
Yeah, the iPhone SE, it's a good phone. I can't deny that. It's simple to use, it offers more power even than the iPhone 6, I think, right?
Yeah, it's got the same specs as an iPhone 6s, but just in a smaller case.
In a smaller form factor.
Mm-hmm.
What else about Apple, Beckham?
Yeah, so with the iPhone 7, like, if you're gonna get the iPhone 7, don't use Apple's adapters, because you can probably get an adapter that does the exact same thing for, like, less than half the price.
And I mean, I know my family gets mad whenever I accidentally break a charger for the iPhone because they cost so damn much,
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather get a third-party extension of the Lightning port so that I can power my iPhone 5S. And I just got the iPhone 5S because it's the cheapest to buy in my in Verizon, I think that's what I have. But yeah, Apple's just scamming everybody. And what about the what is it called, the PC that they sell, the Apple Pro? What is it?
Like the
Yeah, it's like circular. It sort of looks like a trash can.
I was like, I don't know what that's called, but
Let's call it the Apple trash can. So the Apple
trash. Practically what it is.
The Apple trash can, like, I think it has a Xeon E5 processor. It's like The heck is a Xeon E5? It's like I pay attention to the AMD and the Intel, but nobody pays attention to the Intel's X. No, it's not spelled Z. It's spelled Xeon, and I'm pronouncing it correctly, surprisingly.
Yeah, usually Apple uses their like own processors, which
And I think it's got 16 gigabytes of RAM. Let me just check really quickly. Beckham, continue.
yeah, I do have to give Apple credit for like their consistency because like if you're gonna buy an Apple product, you know you're gonna get like the same quality, like maybe not functionality, but the same quality as like other Apple products. Or say if you're gonna buy like a Windows computer, there's a huge range of like selections, which can be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing. Like because like if you get a computer, like there's really good ones and there's also really bad ones. But with Apple, you're always gonna get like the same consistent quality.
Yeah, because nothing really changes throughout the years. You can compare every single iPhone and you wouldn't see that many change versus Samsung, that has changed its products tremendously. Starting with the Edge, they've just totally changed the game in products these days.
Yeah, and
All right,
probably sometime in the near future, Apple is gonna introduce the the copy off the Samsung Edge technology and introduce it as a revolutionary new feature never seen before anywhere else.
oh my God, Beckham, look at this. A 12-core processor.
Dang.
Intel Xeon E5. And it only has 2.7 gigahertz.
Let's look at how much it costs. This is the Apple trash can.
This is the Apple trash can.
$8,000.
Oh yeah, it is $8,000. I thought that was 2,000. $8,000.
That is ridiculous. You could build your own PC of almost the same quality for like it'd still be expensive, but it'd still cost a lot less.
This and GDDR5. What the heck is that?
No.
Never heard of that. Apple probably invented it with its marketing team. Oh, guys, if we had a G in front of DDR5, I bet it will sound better and people will want to buy
It'll
it.
sound more technologically advanced.
Alright, so let's try to find something that has 2.7 gigahertz that would run about the same. Let me go on to my Amazon application and let's try to find a laptop that has the same specs.
Well, you're not gonna find laptops with 64 gigs of RAM. That's ridiculous.
Who needs 64 gigs of RAM though? Like I'm fine with 8 or 16.
Once you get past like 16, it just gets ridiculous unless you're gonna be running like 1,000 virtual machines at once.
Yeah.
Or like a million different programs at the same time. You're like my computer has 2, and I get by perfectly fine. It was cheap, so I bought it for that.
Yeah. So let's look at this Asus computer. Let's look at these specs. So I think this was about $489. 17-inch high-performance laptop, Intel Core i5 processor, up to 2.7 gigahertz, the same as the
All right. How about
the trash can.
Let's find a Macintosh.
Let's find
the
a
Apple that like a MacBook Air with the same specs is gonna cost over $1,000. Like
yeah, and I mean. With worse specs, I mean, I've got an Apple computer right here that I use for video editing, and I'm planning to do a PC build because I truthfully cannot stand this computer. I got it a very long time ago.
Sell it.
Yeah. It's just horrible. It can't run Ark Survival Evolved, which is a game it's an indie game. I mean, I think any computer from 2011 on should run any indie game that comes out in 2016. I mean, it's ridiculous.
But hey, we all know the superior operating system is Linux, so.
I mean, that's just obvious, Beckham. I don't think we have to point that out.
Yeah.
And truthfully, like Apple can't even stand up to the consoles now. You know, like the Xbox. I'm sure the Xbox can do better video editing than the trash can.
Yeah,
you know,
Xbox is like video game consoles are practically just like computers, but like specialized. And fun fact, Apple like back in like the 90s, I think they actually tried to make their own game console, but as you can probably tell by now, it failed terrifically.
Yeah, and since then, before that, I believe that Apple was actually the prime computer for gaming. It was you actually tried to avoid Microsoft computers, DOS computers for gaming, because they were used more for business, and it just completely flip-flopped after '95, I think.
Another thing I can give to Macintosh is they did make revolutionary footsteps or something in the development of the graphical user interface. Like, of course, we all know that, or Xerox did make the first GUI, but Apple made the first like
Yeah.
really commercially successful one. And it is said by some people that Windows 95 borrowed a little too much from um, Mac OS.
Yeah, and before '95, Macintosh, everybody ran video games on the Macintosh, and now I painstakingly run simple games like Prison Architect, which runs at what, like 25 frames per second? That's ridiculous. It's freaking Prison Simulator. Not Prison Simulator, Prison Architect.
My computer runs Minecraft at 2 frames per second, so I think you're pretty lucky.
I know his computer has how much RAM?
2 gigs.
Yeah.
I got it for like $100, no more than that. It's like
You did?
150 is really cheap.
Oh yeah, that's a good computer.
I
for
still use it.
that amount of money.
It works perfectly fine, like, but it's just not very powerful.
Yeah. What else about Macs that we can pick? We're gonna pick at
This
them.
episode is pretty much just heating on Macs.
Yeah, I mean, why
It's a
shouldn't
very
we?
easy thing to do.
Yeah. What else? I mean, I don't think there's much else besides them scamming us every single year with the same product that they come out
Yeah.
with.
And one thing, like, see, Apple, like, they recently, like, within the past couple of years, they removed the 32 gigabyte option for phone store, like, for their iPhones. So if you're gonna get an iPhone, you either have to pay like a $700 for like a 64 gigabyte one or 128 gigabyte one, or you're gonna have to go down to 16, which is pretty much, by today's standards, is pretty much unusable.
And you know, a lot of people might say that Apple is mainly used around the world, but it's really not.
Yeah, 93% of computers are Windows.
Yeah, and I think it should stay that way. Anyway, with that, I think we should end this video.
It to stay that way until the Linux revolution.
Sure. So with that, I'd like to end this video. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Leave a like and subscribe.
Or is it listening?
Yeah, really. I hope you liked this video. It was a little longer than usual, and I hope you liked it. Thanks. Have a nice day.